Alright, let's talk about two wide receivers that have been getting a lot of attention from Kansas City Chiefs fans lately, Denzel Boston and Chris Bell, and which one could actually be the better fit in Kansas City. Because honestly, this conversation gets really interesting when you break down their strengths, weaknesses, and draft value. Denzel Boston breakdown. Let's start with Denzel Boston, the wide receiver out of Washington. Physically, this guy is a monster. He stands 6 feet 4 inches, 210 pounds, and is a true outside receiver. Over the last 2 seasons, he emerged as one of the most reliable targets in college football. And the biggest thing that jumps off the page: his contested catch ability. Boston posted a 61% career contested catch rate, and that number jumped to nearly 77% in 2025. That's elite. For a quarterback, that means he can be a true safety blanket when the play breaks down. He's also one of the best blocking receivers in this draft class, which matters a lot in an offense like Kansas City's. If you've watched Andy Reid's system, you know the Chiefs love their screen game and perimeter blocking. That's one of the reasons players like Marquez Valdes-Scantling stuck around for so long, because they were willing to block. Boston fits that mold perfectly. He also brings serious red zone value. Over the last 2 years, he scored 20 touchdowns, using his size and body control to box out defenders almost like a basketball player. Boston's weaknesses. But there are definitely concerns. Boston isn't the twitchiest receiver. He doesn't create a ton of separation, and is not going to be wide open very often. Instead, he wins with leverage, body positioning, and high-pointing the football. Another issue: speed. He didn't run the 40-yard dash at the combine, which immediately raised eyebrows. And when receivers skip that test, people usually assume there's a reason. Realistically, many scouts believe he could run somewhere in the 4.6 range, which would make him significantly slower than players like Justin Watson or Valdes-Scantling. So while Boston might be a solid possession receiver and red zone target, he's probably not going to be an explosive playmaker. Enter Chris Bell. Now let's talk about the other name that Chiefs fans keep bringing up. Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville. This guy might be one of the most intriguing and polarizing receivers in the entire 2026 draft class. Some scouts even compare his playing style to players like A.J. Brown or Deebo Samuel, not necessarily saying he is those players, but he has a similar physical bully ball style. Bell checks in at 6 feet 2 inches, 222 pounds, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he can look like a running back. That's where his biggest strength shows up: yards after catch. He has the ability to turn short or intermediate passes into big gains, something that's been a huge part of the Chiefs' offense during the Patrick Mahomes era. It's also why Rashee Rice became such a dangerous weapon in that system. Bell also brings strong contested catchability, around 56% career rate, excellent physicality at the catch point, late hands that prevent defenders from reacting early. And once he gets up to speed, he can really move. Bell was GPS tracked at 21.5 miles per hour, which is extremely impressive for someone his size. The big concern: injury. But there's one major concern. Bell suffered an ACL injury, which prevented him from testing at the combine and could even keep him from participating in his pro day. There's also a chance he might miss part of his rookie season. That's obviously a risk. But it also creates something interesting for teams. Draft value. If Bell had stayed healthy, many scouts believe he would have been a second-round pick, maybe even sneaking into the first round. Instead, he might fall into the third or fourth round. And if a team like the Chiefs can grab a first-round talent at a third-round price, that's the kind of move that can completely change a draft. Boston versus Bell. So when you compare the two players, the differences become pretty clear. Denzel Boston. Better red zone jump ball threat, excellent block, reliable possession, receiver, limited speed and separation. Chris Bell. More explosive athlete, elite yards after catch ability, more physical with the ball in his hands, injury concerns. Boston might be the safer option. But Bell probably has the much higher ceiling. And if you're talking about fit within the Chiefs' offense, Bell's skill set lines up really well with what Kansas City likes to do. Final thoughts. If the Chiefs had to choose between the two, taking Denzel Boston at pick 29 might feel like a reach. But grabbing Chris Bell in the third or fourth round, if the medical checks out, could be incredible value. That's why a lot of people believe Bell might actually be the better move. Alright, Chiefs Kingdom, now we want to hear from you. Who would you rather see in Kansas?